Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Danielle Lord, founder and principal of Archetype Learning Solutions, and we are back with another Zooming into Success, part of our series supporting small businesses in our community and even more through the Chamber Collective. See, Charity, I did it again. Bonnie Lake Chamber Collective. I never get it right. So constantly needs for improvement check mark in that box. But so we're back again this month, and we're joined by one of our newer chamber members, Randy Costello with PNW Web Designers and Marketing. Hopefully I got that correct, Randy. And the topic today is SEO dead? So I think this is something that all of us in small business are always trying to keep on top of. So we're very happy to have you here, Randy, to talk us through it. And so, yeah, take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here to really cover this topic. It's very near and dear to our company. And there's a huge pivot going on right now in the last 12 months, right? Especially in the last 6 months, that has definitely impacted business across the country. And so today we're going to be really talking about SEO, AEO. What does that mean for business owners? What does that mean for you and me? And as not only business owners, but as consumers and customers as well on these AI platforms, what are we getting out of this? So let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to go through a PowerPoint here. Oh, the sharing is not turned on. Let me see if I can.
Mm.
Okay, let's see.
There, try
Share.
now. Sorry about that.
Okay, yeah, no problem. All right, let's
Got
see
to do. We got
here.
so busy talking about sharks and whales.
I know, right? Let's see here. Okay. So let me pull up this other one. Where did it go? Okay, here we go, guys. All right. Let me move my stuff in the corner. Okay. So, um, okay. So here's the topic that we're going to be talking about. Is SEO dead? We're going to really go over SEO versus AEO, search versus answers, and most importantly, what everybody really wants to know is my business being recommended by AI? That's the really hot topic, and that's the reason why people are here and listening to this, right? And then at the end, I
Mhm.
would love to roundtable this topic, this conversation, and we'll go over, frequently asked questions that I get asked all the time by business owners, non-business owners, corporate entities. So we'll cover all that piece. And so really what I want to talk about is really the evolution of search behavior. And what does that mean? It's really how we get answers today. How do we get answers? It's so different from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, even 20 years ago, right? And so in order to understand how we get answers today, let's travel back in time. Remember Blockbuster? I grew up with Blockbuster, even Hollywood Video. And so look at Blockbuster as the age of digital search, Google, right? Just like Blockbuster, we as customers, we would drive to the store. We're constantly physically moving around searching for it. And endless possibilities. And that's really what's going on 20 years ago, plus when Google established their search engines such as Ask Jeeves, Yahoo, etc. Right? Everything was manually
It just
pursued.
closed. Ask
Right?
Jeeves is over.
Yeah, I know. And I love that guy in the little logo icon, right? And it was special. I remember asking Jeeves, and that was really that was my first search engine, right? And then Google decided to build a better mousetrap. And so here we are today, just like Blockbuster. Consumers are constantly on the internet 20 plus years ago and just looking. There's no algorithm to where it's at today. So let's just fast forward a little bit from Blockbuster time to, guess what? Redbox. Do you remember Redbox? It was in every corner, similar to Google. It started to say, you know what, let's build this a little bit better because customers want faster response, limited on searches. So let's give the algorithm. It was born, it was links and blue links and clicks, right? Similar to Redbox, faster process. The discovery was a little bit faster, a little bit easier. Top 3, top 4, top 5. That's, that's what Redbox was showing on, as you could see on the right side. Hey, here's all the movies. Here are your choices. Similar to Google, here are your top 5 choices if you're looking for the best tacos in Bonnie Lake, right? Here it is. So,
And Randy, just sorry, not to, yeah, I didn't want
mhm,
to interrupt you too much, but
yeah.
we aren't seeing anything on the screen in case you were
Oh,
expecting us to be.
oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was enthralled with your story, so I was totally
Yes,
with you, but I
yes,
wasn't seeing the
yes.
visuals.
Oh gosh, yes. Let me know if you're seeing it now.
There it is.
There it is. Yes, I'm glad you said something. But yes, Blockbuster, there's Redbox. And so similar to what you see in the Redbox on the right side, you see 22 Jump Street. I didn't want to watch that. I wasn't even thinking about that, but I'm gonna now rent it similar to back in the day, Google would only show us these options, right? So we're searching, we're still in that search mode. Now, let's talk about our time now. Netflix on the movie side business really made a disruption. Same thing with these chat AI platforms making a disruption really in the last 2+ years. I was watching this 3 years ago when it was evolving. And I want to say the last 12 months, 6 months, it really has really taken off. It's really been out in the general public. So that same thing with who do you think is next? Let's see here. Netflix, right? So Netflix,
Mm-hmm.
now what is Netflix doing for us right now, right? When we are at home, Netflix, we're not searching, Netflix is recommending. Amazon Prime Video is recommending. It's predicting our behavior. Hey, you watched this funny movie, therefore I'm gonna recommend this movie for you so you don't have to search. Similar to what's happening right now in the search fields. We're going into the world of from SEO pivoting over to AEO. What does those terms mean? We'll get into that here momentarily, but I wanted to give everybody an example of how Blockbuster, Redbox, Netflix, how each section, as you can see, has a different process from looking around searching to, okay, discovery, and then now we're waiting for answers and recommendation. So this impacts the businesses, just like I said, across the country, small little town, big cities, rural areas. It's very critical that I, and other agencies out there help business owners thrive on these new ways of people and customers looking for products, services, and the list goes on, right? Programs. So SEO, I do want to be clear that SEO is not, oh, excuse me, AI is not SEO. All right. So I just want to make sure it's clear that some folks get that confused. Okay, so is AI SEO? Is SEO AI? Right? So it's a search engine optimization. And so what that means is that the user, you and me, will actually look for a product, service, program, something to do, and then they see links, tons of links on the first page, and then they click on it, and then endless searching, right? It could be a flight, it could be the best restaurants, whatever the topic subject is, endless searches. And then business are competing for those positions, hence Google Ads, reviews, and Google will categorize that and will show you top 4, top 5. And it's very, very, structured and limited, and that's all you get. And consumers sometimes will go on page 2 to see what's going on, but rarely do we ever go to page 2. So there was a survey in Priceline back in 2024 that an average person actually spent 16 hours researching for a trip. That's the SEO. And we're still doing that now for the most part. And I just remember doing that last year where it took me 3 days to look for a trip. And it was frustrating. So, but again, that's evolving, it's changing how we look things up. And so right now, we're still in the somewhat let me search phase, which is SEO. We're going to transition now to AEO. What does that mean? It's tell me or give me or I want this, right? You're talking to an AI platform and it's answer engine optimization. And so what does that mean? So let me, okay. So what does that mean? AI gives direct answers, just not links. So for an example, just last night, I purposely, with intent, said, ChatGPT, tell me what's the best place to take my mom out to a best waffle place in Bonnie Lake, right? I don't have time to search. So AI is taking all this information from me and throwing it into my chat text box section, and that's giving me options. And from that option, I'm going to click on one of those and I'm going to go with it. And I'm going to talk about how more people are utilizing that feature and not clicking on websites. And people might say, well, are you trying to say that websites is going to be irrelevant? No, there's a plus to that, okay? So right now, businesses are now competing, are wanting to compete to be recommended, not just ranked, right? So AI is recommending. If you are not on that platform, whether it's a nonprofit organization program, maybe it's a volunteer, maybe it's an event. If you are not visible on AI, when someone says, hey, I want the best waffle in Bonnie Lake, or hey, what's things to do this weekend? If consumers are on that AI platform and not showing up, you could be missed. Your events business, whatever that you're trying to do, can be missed easily. And that person is going to go ahead and go to your competitor. And so AI looks for trust signals, reviews, updated content, authority, and relevance. What does that mean? Well, just earlier, before we started this, we had a deep conversation about some facts about, we were talking about a whale story. And from there, we had a question about somebody telling a whale story regarding the date. Well, they were using a platform on Google and saying, oh, hey, here's the trust factor, right? If we were to ask that on AI platform, that AI would immediately go to the updated content, because things change all the time, and pull that information, right, from those sources. So SEO is still relevant because it's still using that platform on that end. SEO is still the foundation right now. Now, is that going to change down the road? Absolutely. It's going to definitely pivot again in a different direction. Let's see. AO provides users the best answer when we're asking a question or making a statement. We're just like Google or our best friend, when they're telling us information, we want to trust that source, right? And so they pride in themselves, Google does. That's why they created also a ChatGPT version called Gemini. So they want to stay relevant and stay with the consumer and have that trust factor. So that's very critical. And I'll talk about, well, how do I'm trustworthy. Yes, you as a business owner organization, you are trustworthy. We also have to make sure that we convey that information on the AI platform, and I'll show you how to do that as we continue on this presentation. AI platforms, there's quite a few, there's so many AI platforms, but I'll talk about the ones that are very, I want to say, popular at the time, for the time being. So we got ChatGPT, we got Gemini, we got Copilot, Claude, Perplexity. And of course, we have so many other ones I can name off right now as well that has the same features. Not all platforms are built equally. And so right now, what's going on is that the creator is feeding it information, facts. And so I have another slide here where when it's feeding it facts, such as you can say, who won the Super Bowl in 2025? It immediately would spit out and say Seattle Seahawks, right? Because it already fed that information. Now, when you say, follow up with, who is our new running back? It's going to go into now a live query search. If the Seahawks did not update their website and say, here's their new running back, or so-and-so got fired, it's going to pull other sources from other information. And it's going to make sure that all those sources are correct before it gives you the correct answer. And so all that information has to be accurate. I always say, no matter what, when we're dealing with AI or even Google, trust but verify. When it's still learning, it's still trying to figure things out, and there is still a discrepancy that you still have to double check your sources. And so that's the human element from that, is that they're never going to take that away from us, is that we're going to have to go in there as a human, look into things and double check stuff. Biggest thing is now is AI recommending your business. And so right now, I do want to talk about Forbes. Now, Forbes just released an article March of 2026 about traditional SEO. I'm going to read this. Users who encounter an AI summary are less likely to click on links to other websites, right? What does that mean? So just like I mentioned earlier, users are going to trust what that platform is telling them, and they're not going to click on the website to do more research. We just don't have time, don't want to make time. We're hustle and bustling. We're just moving along and we're going to go with it. So, you know, if your brand, your company, your service, if it's not present on AI, like I mentioned, it will go to another business. It will go to another competitor, or that consumer will not see it, right? So I'm very critical on that piece. Following up on that article, oops, let's see here. Let me move my cursor so I can see this here. Okay. So reported by AP News, right? AP News found that 60% of US adults use AI. And so what does that mean for businesses? So people are, like I said, they're looking on there, hey, give me the best tacos. I need a roofer company in my area. If you could be showing up on Google and you could have 50 reviews and you could be on Google for the last 10 years, and if your website is not AI generated or optimized for that platform, guess what? Randy Roofing Company, they will show up because they've been optimized. They went to a course, they went to some sort of workshop, or they've been educated, or they have some agency working it out for them. They're going to show up. And so it will happen. So my biggest thing is do yourself a favor, look it up. We have software that we could use, but you can also do a self-test. Now, remember, your platform, for you using that right now, it's very biased. It's learned everything about you. And so either go in Google incognito mode. You can also download or sign out of your platform and go in there blindly like that. The other advice is ask one of your friends that's not biased looking up Randy's Roofing Company, right? And just see where you're at. See if you even show up. And the beautiful thing is if you are showing up, now you find out who your competitors are. And so that's a good way to do it. That's what I highly recommend that you should do to see if your business shows up on that. How does AI get that information, by the way? Like I mentioned earlier, It's trained on data immediately. Who is the president, in the 40s, right? It's going to give that information because it was feeding the beast, right? The creator was feeding all this information. And again, in real time, go fetch it. They're getting that quick information. And that's why I say websites are still a big deal. Users may not be clicking on websites, just like I mentioned earlier, but your website, if it doesn't have relevant content, and I've had a lot of businesses say, oh, I haven't updated my website in a year, or I haven't touched my website in the last 6 months. I haven't updated content, no big deal. I'm getting customers. Sure, you're getting customers right now. You're getting customers today. But in 3 months, 6 months, 7 months, when this finally catches up with the majority of the business industry, guess where you're going to sit at? Way down below. Things has evolved, things have moved. And so I highly recommend that just because you replace a photo or just because you switched out a paragraph does not rank a business onto AI platforms. There's so many elements involved that in order to do that, there needs to be what's called an SEO, AEO ecosystem that needs to be built in order to get recommended. And so for an example, here are some sources that AI uses. I kid you not, again, with intent, just the other day, I gave it a tough question. The tough question was, I like to eat show me a taco place in Bonnie Lake. I want a hole in the wall, and I want it hardcore local. And guess what? It didn't pull TripAdvisor. It didn't pull a Seattle restaurant. Guess where it went? It went to Reddit. Reddit customers mentioned a couple places in Bonnie Lake. And so it gave me some information. It pulled a whole bunch of different sources and said, hey, try Randy El Taco, right? Because all these people are talking about it. And so it's on my list now. I'm going to go check it out. And so that's an example. It's pulling all these sources. So you have to think about your business. So if your business is in the restaurant business, are you showing up, one, on their authority, on an authority website? Is it in a magazine? Are you writing some sort of AI content, answer style content on your website? Now, stale website that says we serve the best hamburgers is no longer gonna work anymore. That worked, like I said, 2 years ago. Now it's gonna have to pivot and change into the AI answer content on your website. And I'll give you an example on my website and what that looks like on that and what they're looking for. Another source is your chamber right now at Bonnie Lake. And so if someone's saying, I need IT services, my computer crashed, how do I fix this? And your chat's going to pick up, or your AI platform is going to pick up your location, right? Because you're signed in. It's going to pick up your location. And we're hoping that an IT company with computer is going to pop up and show up, right? And so that's a big plus for that company. That's a big plus for that consumer because they need help. Their computer crashed. Is that gonna show up? And so putting your information on Chamber of Commerce like Bonnie Lake is very critical. There's a lot of businesses that don't have a full profile on the chamber. And they just go, it's no big deal. It is a big deal because guess what? AI goes into the chamber because it is a trust signal. It's an authority that says, hey, Randy's on PNW Web Designers. Here's his profile. And there's going to push it to AI. They're going to look at Better Business Bureau. Hey, Randy's also in Better Business Bureau. He is in Bonnie Lake, or he's not on Bonnie Lake. I'm not going to show him to people, but he is showing up in Grays Harbor. So there's a lot of factors that people don't think about that's very critical, and you have to really start putting relevant content that is for AI platforms. If you're just putting, Randy or PNW Web Designers, we build websites. No way. That is thin, and it's going to get discredited because there's no signal factor there that I'm going to help out that customer that needs my service. They want to show customers that, hey, this thing that I'm giving you, this information is going to help you out. Let's see here. The other piece I want to show you is, well, how do I get my AI to recommend my business, right? So you want to be the answer. Well, how do I be that answer, Randy? And this is what I'm talking about the ecosystem. And so it's very, very important that you do this starting now if you don't have it, because it's going to really help out in the next 3 months, 6 months. You're building on it. It's like you're building your digital wealth on this platform, right? You're building on it. You got your SEO foundation. No matter what, that's not going to go away anytime soon. Is it evolving? Is it changing? Absolutely. But AEO, AI still rely on that SEO. So don't stop that. SEO foundation plus visibility. What is visibility? That means that your business needs to be out there on the digital platform, whether you're promoting something on Facebook, Instagram, you are on the Chamber of Commerce writing, responding or creating a profile. You're on Better Business Bureau. Visibility. You're out there. Your business is out there versus Randy's roofing company, who's been in business for 5 years, but has done nothing for the last 10 years on the digital platform because they're local and they just get businesses, and that's fine. But like I said, it's changing, and those other roofing company that's going to start doing this, they're going to start pushing you down on the digital side of things, right? So on the digital side of things, and so trust source. I mentioned the trust source is Chamber, Better Business Bureau, a magazine. Maybe the nonprofit organization. For example, if I ran a nonprofit organization and I need some sort of bus pass program, or somebody needs a bus pass program, and I'm a new nonprofit and none of my stuff is optimized for AI, I'm doing a disservice for that customer, because now they don't hear about my bus program because I don't show up. And so that needs to be optimized. So it's just not about restaurants or trade business. Big brothers, big sisters hired us because they want us to, Randy, when someone looks us up for this mentorship program, we want to show up across, this county or this neighborhood. You got it. We'll do that. So it's just not about that as well. So there's so many things, and even events. Okay, we're doing this shark event in April 2027. We need to start working on this right now. So that way, when somebody in Bonnie Lake goes, "What to do this weekend?" we show up all the way from Ocean Shores, and it's reaching Bonnie Lake, right? So trust source, we're constantly building our trust source. New information, you have to really continue to feed it new information. Google business profile. A lot of people would build their Google business profile, put in the basic information and go, that's good enough. Sure, like I said, 5 years ago, it was good enough. But we need to go in there and update that, change it, modify it, right? So I highly recommend going in there. But there's a finesse to it. You gotta understand what AI is looking for. There's keywords. There's research, research in your industry, research in your competitors. So AI keywords equals everything into the ecosystem. All right, and like I said, business websites that are not updated with information, AI is gonna look at other relevant websites that has updated content, okay? And again, I do want to just visually show people that search engine versus answer engine, rank, reach, redirect. You got answer that says, I'm gonna respond to this question, Randy's question, I'm gonna respond to it, I'm gonna recommend, and here's the results. Right? Hey, give me the best favorite ice cream in Bonnie Lake. It's going to hear me. It's going to recommend, and then I'm going to see the result, and then I'm going to go see, Sarah's ice cream. And the goal for that, of course, is that the business wants to be trusted, so that way AI can actually recommend that service, that business. And of course, I've heard this too many times: AI, stay out of my business. And what I say is, AI, recommend my business. It's very, very important with the digital age that's happening right now. You know, we're all new to this. Everybody's new to this. Even the experts are new to this. They're trying to figure this out. We as a company, we try to stay ahead of it a year in advance. And then we have a strategy a year in advance and say, hey, this is what we're doing. And I'll give you a quick story. About 9 months ago, I had someone from Shelton, Washington reach out to me and said, hey, Randy, I would love for you to help us out with our current website. This is, I have this service. We get customers, but I feel we're not showing up on Google. I talked to her and I said, have you ever heard of the term AEO? And she goes, nope, never heard of it. I tried to educate her a little bit about that. She said, you know, we get customers right now. I think I'll be okay. Thank you for educating me. No big deal. And so I said, I'm here for you no matter what. She hits me up, I want to say about a month ago, and she said, I'm in trouble. I don't show up at all, zero, and our business has slowed down tremendously. So right now we're working with this situation with her, right? And so I always say, um, you know, things are evolving, things are changing, and so I get with someone, whoever that person is with that you want to work with. They're the expert. Let them help you continue to build your business well, right? So with that being said, let's talk about these questions. These are some of the common questions that I get asked all the time about this topic. Okay, Randy, you told us about all this fun stuff. Where do I start? How do I check if my business is on AI platforms? Why do I need new content on my website? I don't have a website. I have a Facebook business page. I get business now. Do I really need to do this? Right? I hear that all the time. And I'm going to tell you another story. Just a few weeks ago, someone had the same situation. The very bottom one. And I get a lot of these. I don't need a website. I have a Facebook business page. Their Facebook business page got hacked, and all their information was gone. Pictures, everything. And you don't own Facebook. And once you lose that, you lose all your customers. And so I always say Facebook business page is a good social visibility, period. Don't rely on it as your number one source. Especially AI doesn't. AI is pulling up a whole bunch of different sources, especially if I'm looking for a cell phone service or a painting business or a chamber commerce business. If Chamber only had a Facebook page, it wouldn't trust it. It would move on and say, don't do Bonnie, like go to Renton, right? So just make sure that you cover all your bases from websites, social media platforms, directories. Get involved digitally with your brand, with your business across the web. That being said, I'm here. Reach out to me anytime. You can contact me directly, charity. I'm on the Bonnie Lake list, and I'm there. I want to say every other weekend in the Bonnie Lake area. We have family in this area, so, and I love this area too. So, but that'll do it. Let me end my session here. Let's see. All right.
That was super interesting. Thank you so much, Randy.
Oh yeah, you're welcome.
I really enjoyed all of that. Just like food for thought, good perspective, good to remember that there's still a lot of elements that I think people need to be covering, like your
Mm,
your equation. There's so many different components that I think that it can feel as a small business owner, especially, or a service provider, Two, when you're trying to work in your business, and it can be hard to work on your business. And so I can see, obviously, for things like this, why it makes sense to work with a group like yours,
Mhm.
or somebody who's already kind of optimizing for this. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, even us as a web design company and marketing company, you know, we also lead on with our colleagues in the business, which is our competitors. We have a great relationship with a couple of our competitors. And I say, hey man, take a look at our stuff, you know, because we're all in it together. We really are.
Mhm.
You know, Mike too, right? And Mike can say, man, Randy, you know, and for us, it's all about building a relationship. And same thing with AI. It wants to build a relationship with the business so it can recommend. And so for Mike,
Mhm.
he might say, "Hey, Randy, man, you know, give me 15 minutes of your time. What do you think about this?" We're happy to do that because we want you to thrive. Mike might just say, "Hey, man, you know, here's my take," and we would take that because things are changing. They're constantly changing, and we always try to, you know, look at other opportunities when someone can also help us out as an agency because
Mhm.
we want to help out business owners. You know,
Yeah.
we're expert in our field, uh, but I'm going to say but we don't know everything, right? And
Yeah.
so it's nice to have extra eyes from other people too to say, hey, here's what's going on. So yeah,
Yeah, for sure. No, I love that approach, and I love the approach of collaboration. And obviously, our clients are not always the same, right?
right, right.
In this, and that's what makes it so nice,
Hmm.
within the chamber, to be able to refer business to other people.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know, your expertise in your area of fields is a little bit broader. And so if I ran into somebody who's like not a fit for my company, it could be a better fit for you. And it's just great to
Hmm.
be able to create that referral network, and
Yeah,
to
yeah,
know that we're all, like you said, we're all in this together. We're all in,
we really
small
are.
business owners trying to make something happen. So
Yeah, we
yeah.
really are. And you know, from even like I had this small medical practice that reached out to me on the consulting side, I want to say about a month ago, and said, "Hey
Hmm.
Randy, you know, I'm not showing up on Google. I have this practice, private medical practice, XYZ, and I have this current website." So I looked at the website on the design side of things, beautiful, loved it,
Mm,
but it wasn't optimizing for what he was looking for. And I
yeah.
said, okay, great, we can redesign this and we can optimize it for XYZ, right? And he said, well,
Yeah.
how long will it take you to do this? And I said, gosh, you know, honestly, to really have an effective website, I said, this is going to probably take 7 to 10 days, but it's going to be really good. And he goes,
Hmm.
let me call you back. Hits me up, I want to say in 24 hours. Hey, I'm sorry, I decided to go with somebody else. And I said, oh,
Mm,
okay, well, no problem. So we talked.
yeah.
I looked up his company again in 3 days,
Uh-huh.
brand new website. And I said, oh, he just went with just somebody cheaper and faster. And I said, he's gonna come see me again in about a year.
Yeah.
And that sucks because that's what's wrong, right? Because it, like I said, it used to work 5 years ago. Who can build it faster and cheaper?
Sure.
And
Sure.
I'll just put relevant keywords and that's it. But I was analyzing his new website. There wasn't anything different on there. Just yeah. And so the point of me mentioning that is that business owners cannot cut corners anymore, right? I always say, this is your business. It's supposed to help grow, make you money, or provide a service to the community. And if you're cutting
Yeah.
corners on your own digital marketing, whether it's website or services, you're doing,
Hmm.
you know, you're not helping yourself because AI is starting to really cut down on you know, there's a lot of website where AI would just put in a prompt and it just builds it. And Google is starting to really say, we're gonna rank that low and not recommend
Huh.
that to AI. And then
Hmm.
also with photos, right? There's a lot,
Hmm.
even my own clients are like, hey, Randy, can you put this photo up on our website? I said, what is this? And she goes, oh, it's a
Oh,
roofing
AI
thing.
images.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, you know, it's an AI image in roofing. I go, absolutely not. Here's the reason why. right? And I
Yeah.
say, your AI image that you did has a signature stamp that people don't know about.
I
So
know, right?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So we submit websites to Google a couple of times a month called indexing.
Uh-huh.
And so Google was sending their robots, the little chat,
Yeah.
their bot, and when it
Yeah.
recognizes that those photos and you times that by 10 times, the
Yeah.
bots are gonna say, we're not recommending this. This isn't a real photo because Charlie Robert the robot did this photo on
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I don't trust this, so I'm not gonna recommend this roofing company to charity.
Huh.
So that's an example versus authentic photos, right?
Right.
So if Mike has photos of his team working away and he indexed that, he alt text
Mm-hmm.
that, which means he's
Mm-hmm.
describing it to
Yeah.
the bots and saying, hey, this is detailed,
Yeah.
and he times it by 5 photos throughout his website, and he
Right.
also puts it on Bonnie Lake's chamber, and he puts
Yeah.
it on here,
Right.
then they're going to refer his business consistently to Randy. Okay,
Right.
right? You have to be on chat, you have to be on Claude, you have to be on Gemini, and every one of those are
Mm.
so different, so different.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, it's really interesting and how things are evolving and changing.